Hey guys, this is Gene Jensen, and it is time for my MTB Slam for the month of, what are we at now, May? I got my son Jake here with me today, and we're gonna do it together. So let's go ahead and break into the box. What the MTB Mystery Tackle Box is a monthly subscription-based product. You can, for $15 a month, get a basic box. This is a pro box, but you can get the basic box for $15 a month. Get about $25 worth of tackle. It's pretty good. You don't get to pick the tackle, but it's great. You get to be surprised. And then for an upgrade, a $9.99 upgrade, you can get the pro box. And the pro box comes with, between $40 and $50 worth of tackle, and you're only paying $25. So you can't beat that. Anyway, let's break into it. Already opened it up. I've kind of changed up my mystery tackle box for my MTB Slams. Lately, I don't concentrate on trying to catch a fish on every single bait. I teach about every single bait, and I try to figure out which one's going to catch the best that day, try to make it work. I'm on Lake Chickamauga on the Tennessee River up out of Chattanooga. Only been here a few times. We just moved about an hour and a half from there. Don't even have furniture in the house yet. But I'm up here, and I'm up here fishing, so we're going to see what we got going on. I'm going to try to catch some fish. So to start with, this is actually a pretty good box. Let's pull the little card out. This one has everything labeled. To start with, I've got a crankbait. Do I? Have a little hardcore, dual hardcore. I wonder if it's a Yozuri bait, because Yozuri has the hardcore, looks like it. Anyway, a little shallow runner, golden black. Looks pretty good. Retails at $14.99. I'm a fan of hardcore baits. I've had some in my box for years and years. And the next one's another crankbait by Sabile. It's the bull crank for $7. It's weighted real low, and it has a pretty good little action, and it runs. They pretty much run true right out of the package. At least that's my experience with them. Now the next one is a pad crasher frog, where it might be a little bit late for fishing a frog, but we'll still try. A Booyah pad crasher. I've got several of those in the box. That's a pretty cool little color. What color is that? Aqua frog. Pretty cool. Anyway. Booyah pad crasher. Now the split tail beaver by V&M, a flipping bait. We are on Chickamauga, so we're gonna be flipping the outside edge of grasses and grass patches and things like that probably by the end of the day. It's a great color, Okeechobee craw. And then the Booyah pad crasher is $6.99. The split tail beaver's $5.59 for a full pack, and that is a full pack. Then we got the bullhead tube, and I fished tubes about, never. But I did fish a bunch of them up in New York recently. So by Whiskey River Baits. Pretty cool little tube, green pumpkin, good color. And last but not least, the jig rig. And you guys and I am probably pretty excited about teaching about the jig rig, because I've been wanting to do one for a video about it for a while. This is a little light for my liking. It's a 1/4 ounce, but it'll work right now. I like to wait till the grass gets higher, and I throw about a 1/2 ounce, a big heavy one. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Then the other things in the box is you get the Dibble Digest, which has pretty good articles in it about the baits, a sticker, and then the scratch off, match the hatch scratch off. I can't get it off. So, and you get a chance to win some pretty cool prizes. All right, let's jump in the middle of it and throw these on some rods, and we'll start fishing. Me and Jake are gonna try to whack them. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the jig rig. Jake caught the first fish this morning on the jig rig and a tube, throwing it up against a seawall.
I didn't know it was a fish. It was like this fish in there. I didn't cook it very well. Grab him. I did.
There was a shad spawn that went on this morning and last night, and the bass were real close to the seawalls. We got here just at the tail end of that. Once the sun hits those seawalls, the shad go away and the bass do too. So we got to the very end of it. He caught one little one. But what a jig rig is, or a Jika rig as they call it, is a weight that's attached with 2 swivels or 2 O-rings to a wide gap worm hook. And it just makes a really nice snagless jig, basically. The bite is a little bit weird. It's kind of a soft bite. It feels kind of like a drop shot bite. It just loads up. You don't feel it just hammer the bait. So you really have to say, okay, is that a fish? And you feel that fish pull back and you set the hook. I like a heavy jig rig or heavy jika rig. The reason I like a heavy one is that I like to punch grass with it. You throw it in there and a half ounce jig rig like this will punch down through the grass and drag the craw down through it also. Really good punch bait. A lot of people don't use it as that, but it is really good. And you just flip in and you should just, you know, throw it down, punch it in, shake it a few times, bring it up to the top, shake it and bring it back out and throw it back in. I've got a good punch video that you guys ought to watch. The rod that I would throw a jig rig on all depends on the weight really and the size of the hook. This is a 1/4 ounce. It's hard to throw it on a medium heavy rod. I'll do it, but I would probably throw this on a medium fast action rod. Medium heavy might work, but I would lose distance in my cast, a little bit of accuracy. But you know, fluorocarbon line, braided line, whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to throw a jig on, I guess. But you know, high speed reel, since you're going to be bottom bouncing, I like a high speed reel. But main thing is you match the rod and the line to the size of the weight. You don't want too heavy of a rod or you just have trouble casting it. So pretty cool. And then the way you keep them from getting hung in the rocks is as soon as it hits the bottom, you pick it back up. So you're hopping it. You got him?
No.
That's a smallmouth, buddy. Get him in here. That's gonna be your first smallmouth if you get him in. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jake's very first smallmouth bass he has ever caught. And you saw it right here.
There you go.
On that crazy crankbait. Caught this one on that ugly crankbait. That last fish, caught it on the little Sabile crankbait. Ugliest color I've ever seen, but you know, it's a bluegill. So that's what the bass eat. But kind of explained to how I was fishing it. I've got it on the wrong reel. I put it on a medium action rod just because that's what I wanted to fish it on, because I wanted to fish it kind of beating it up against things like that. 15-pound Iserline Copoly, a 8:1 gear ratio reel, which I really should be using a 6:3 but I'm not. So I just got to remember to slow down. And I was fishing a steep bank. So I was putting the boat in about 10 feet of water, throwing up to the bank. When I say steep, it was about a 45-degree angle. Had rocks and stuff on it, and my goal was just to beat the snot out of those rocks. Get a reaction strike off of whatever bass was there. So I'd throw it out, and I'd bring it down until I started feeling myself hit those rocks, and then I'd slow down. And what I'm trying to mimic is a bluegill feeding off of those rocks. So you just pop, 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 pop. You just slowly cranking it as you feel it hitting those rocks. And then all of a sudden I just felt a tick that didn't feel like it hitting a rock. You know, just felt different. I set the hook and there was a fish. But the key is you want that deep diving crankbait when you're dredging, as they call it, when you're hitting or digging the bottom or whatever, you want it to look like a fish feeding off of the bottom. And so it's simple, just to make a good long cast into that shallow water. And yeah, you may be fishing a 12 to 15 foot deep diver, but you're fishing it in 5, 6, 7 feet of water, and you just slowly tick it on the bottom. You know, 8:1 and 6:3 you'd be reeling a little bit faster, but this is 8:1 gear ratio, so it's a faster reel. And you just go really slow. Just like that, and you just feel it ticking the bottom. And that's simple, that's just it. That's how I fish a deep diver most of the time, unless I'm fishing really deep and just hitting one little brush pile, just barely hitting it with the crankbait. Then it's a whole different world. So that's it. The Sabile bull crank, 2-inch bull crank. I love a 2-inch crankbait, especially a deep diver, because it catches a lot of different size fish. So pretty cool. There's one. No. Move, 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 move. Now that's a fish right there. Flipping grass beds. Come on now. Nice. Nice. I caught that one on the V&M. I kind of did a little 1/2 ounce flipping rig with a V&M. So I got a flipping rig. Little grip pin hook. Texas rigged or whatever you want to call. It's just a version of a Texas rig. But 1/2 ounce tungsten weight. A punch stop, just like that. That's how I have it rigged up. And just flipping it and working it through this grass. The grass isn't very tall, it's only a few inches tall. But we're right in the middle of a shad spawn, so and it's a little bit late, so the shad have already pulled out, so the bass are going to pull out a little bit into the grass and kind of follow the shad. So I pulled out away from the bank a bit, and that's what I caught. Nice little bass. I think I would love to do that rest of the day. I think I'm going to. I'm fishing this on a heavy action blackout. It's a 7-foot 711. I've got a tricked out concept A-reel, 8-1-to-1, 20-pound fluorocarbon, and that's my flipping and pitching rig, my jig rod, everything else. I love this rod, so that's that. Let's go on and see what I can catch on it again. All right, so the way I was fishing it, oops, you can tell where I set the hook. The line dug into the spool, but the way I was fishing it was simple. I just threw it out into the grass, and like I said, the grass is really, really short. And I'm just dragging and hopping. And I did one quick hop, and on the way down, I felt the line just jump. And sometimes that's the weight, kind of the way the weight hits the bottom, or the way the weight slides down off the line. But because it's pegged, I knew it wasn't the weight, so I set the hook. And that's all I did, was just a little hop. And then, like I said, on that fall, bam, he hit it. And he hit it hard too, so I knew he had it good. And I'm just dragging and hopping and dragging, just kind of playing around. As I feel grass, I'll hop through the grass. And this is hydrilla for the most part. There might be some milfoil mixed in, but I haven't caught any yet. But anyway, when you get caught up in the hydrilla, you just drop your rod to a slack line and give it a good pop. And it'll break that. 9 times out of 10, it'll break it free. All right, now the last one I'm gonna do is the frog. You know, I get this question all the time. When's the best time to throw a topwater? When's the best time to throw a topwater frog? Really, it's whenever the fish are shallow and active. Probably could have caught one on it this morning had we got here a little bit earlier, but we didn't get any sleep last night. We got in late, so got in, I probably had maybe a good 5 minutes worth of topwater time, and just wasn't gonna happen. So the fish were real shallow this morning. There was a shad spawn going on the seawalls and on the boat docks and things like that, and a frog would have worked okay. I prefer a spinnerbait or a lipless when they're shad or spawning. But basically with a frog, you're looking for shade and cover that's shallow when the fish are shallow. Up under docks and things like that. If the fish were under docks today, I might be able to pull one out with a frog if I worked hard enough. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. And then, but the way I fish a frog, or what I fish a frog on, I fish it on a heavy braided line. This is 60-pound braid. What is it? It's Seagar, 60-pound Seagar. I've got an envy rod, a 7-foot-1 heavy. I like a short, heavy action rod. I don't like a long one like a lot of people do, because I like to be able to walk the dog without hitting the water. So 7-foot-1, 6'8" is my favorite. Kind of a high-speed gear ratio. This is an Inception 8-1-to-1. And then the way you walk the frog is, I've got a really good video that shows you how to do it, but here's a kind of a short synopsis of it. It's little short taps. And with a spook, you do really long, your rod moves a lot. But with a frog, you got to remember, it's just, you're literally moving your rod about this far. It's a 2-inch bait. So it's tap, 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 and it starts to walk. This Booyah Pad Crasher is very hard to walk compared to a lot of other frogs. You can do it. If you shorten those legs out as much as you dare, I mean, I take an inch or about an inch, inch and a quarter off the legs, but you still are gonna have a hard time getting it to walk. There are other frogs that walk better, but it's a good frog. I mean, I've caught a lot of fish on it. It lasts a long time. It's nice and soft, so it's not bad. Hope he plans on turning around. That's a dead end. But and then once you get bit, you got to remember, you got to give the fish a time to get the bait good in its mouth. So you get bit, you see that splash, you go 1,000, 2, 1,000, and then you set the hook hard. You try to rip the fish's lips off, and that's frog fishing in a nutshell. So, well, that's it for my MTB Slam. I got to hit the road. It's a little bit late, and we got a lot of work to do to get moved into my new house. I'm excited to be close to Chickamauga. This was a good MTB Slam. Jake caught his first smallmouth bass. He caught his second smallmouth bass. He caught the first bass of the day. He really figured them out and figured out how to catch some. So I'm pretty proud of him. I'm glad to be able to go fishing with him now. But like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go out and catch some fish. Have a great day. We'll see ya.